Good evening and welcome to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. Happy Friday, everyone. It's Friday evening. Got a massive show to bring you guys this evening. But before we jump into that, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel, bottom right-hand corner, if this is your first time watching. And let's get straight on into it. So on the show tonight, we're going to be talking and reacting to the news of Mason Mount having a big injury. I think it's bad news. Obviously, we'll talk about it in a minute. We'll also be reacting to the fact that there are two players returning to the game squad against Everton on Sunday. We'll also be talking a bit about Casemiro, with his price apparently been set by Manchester United ahead of the January transfer window. Obviously talking a bit about Raphael Varane as well. Lots and lots to get into on this evening's show, guys. Please do make sure to get involved in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts on everything we discuss on today's show. And I also want you guys to let me know what your score prediction is for the game against Everton on Sunday. I'll give mine as well, and then we can all look back after the game and see who got the closest one. So let's start off with that. Everybody get your score predictions in right now in the comment section. What will be the game? What will be the score against Everton on Sunday? Let me know who's going to score. I'm going to go with a 2-1 Manchester United win. I think it will be tight. I think it will be difficult. Obviously, the atmosphere is going to be hostile. Everton are going to be very, very up for it. But I think we might just beat them, I think. I'm going 2-1 Manchester United. Goals from Bruno Fernandes. And also, obviously, Rasmus Højlund. I'm going Rasmus Højlund and Bruno Fernandes. Those are my two people. But let me know in the comment section, guys, score prediction for the game and also who's going to score the goals. I will have a look at all the comments and see who gets it right. So, yeah, get involved. Right, let's start off with this news about Mason Mount then. The headline coming out this afternoon is that Mason Mount will be out for more than a month with a calf injury. He really, really hasn't had the best of luck, has he, Mason Mount? He joins Manchester United for an astronomical amount of money, gets the most famous shirt in our history, the number 7 shirt, and he's literally played next to no football. This season so far, right, he's played 627 minutes across all competitions. It's the equivalent of about 6 whole games. When you think that, we've probably played... how many games have we played this season? At least 15 across all competitions, if not more. Let's say 15 to 20. And he's only played the equivalent of about 5 or 6. It's really not very good, is it? Obviously, he got injured earlier on in the season as well. I'm not sure what the injury was before. I know, obviously, now it's a calf injury. I can't remember what his injury was before, but he was out for about a month earlier on in the season. He's out for another month minimum now. So we probably won't see Mason Mount again this season. This calendar year. We'll probably see him again in January. I'm really disappointed about this, to be honest. I think Mason Mount is one of those players that I didn't really want to join, to be honest. But I will always back... our players, I'll always back Erik ten Hag's decisions to bring people in. I'll always give people a chance. And to be honest, I don't even think Erik ten Hag has given Mason Mount a chance. I don't. I think he's literally given him no opportunity whatsoever. And now there's already people saying he's a flop. There's people saying he's a waste of money. And I do feel bad for him. I do. He comes to Manchester United with high expectations of, hopefully becoming the new number 7. But it's just not worked out for him, has it? Obviously, I wish him a speedy recovery. I would really like to see Mason Mount work at Manchester United. Will he? I'm not really too sure, to be honest, personally. So far I would rate his time here as very, very poor, but obviously he's barely played any football, so it's difficult to be critical about him because I don't think I've even really seen that much of Mason Mount, So, but yeah, let me know in the comment section, guys, how do you react to this Mason Mount injury news? Do you think it was a bad signing? Who do you blame it on? Do you think this was an Erik ten Hag signing? Do you think this was a decision by the board? Let me know what your thoughts are. Lumen says, Kieran, you were scared of the Evans-Maguire partnership in the summer, but your manager was fine with it, even benching Varane for it. You know what, mate? I joked about that in the summer. I said, it won't be long before you see Evans and Maguire, and everyone laughed, and we thought it would be funny. And within about 2 games, that was the partnership, wasn't it? The thing which I've come to realise across the last day, when I've really started to think about this Varane situation and tried to work out what's happened, Erik ten Hag seems to like to play the same players over and over again. And I think he does that to try and form consistency, to try and form patterns. We know that he's very obsessive. We know that he tries to, have patterns on the pitch and stuff. And I think that he's just a bit fed up with Varane and his injuries. He was injured quite a lot last season. He's been injured, obviously, quite a lot this season. And I don't think it's as black and white as, oh, Varane's back, pick him, because he'll probably get injured and he probably won't play again for a couple of weeks. You know, it's not like he's a player who has an injury every 5 years. He's injured every other week. So I can kind of understand it from Erik ten Hag's side. He's trying to build some consistency within the team. He's trying to build some, you know, to be coherent, to form patterns of play. And it just simply isn't happening when you've got a player who can barely play one game of football a week. So I think there's both sides to the argument. It's easy for us to say, what's Erik ten Hag doing? It's a disgrace. But I think you do have to look at it from Erik ten Hag's side as well. Lumen says Mason Mount should be in the movies, not football. Fair enough. Digital Sports Update says calf injury for Mason Mount. He is going to be back in the new year. Yes, exactly. Lumen says, Kieran, who has been given more game time by Erik ten Hag, by the way, Mount or Amrabat? That's a good question. Let's have a look. I would imagine it will be Amrabat. I would imagine, but I will double check that for you right now. I would say it's been Amrabat, but let's have a look. So Mason Mount has played 600 minutes for Manchester United this season, and Amrabat has played 598. So it's about equal. But the thing you have to remember is obviously Amrabat joined on transfer deadline day, whereas Mason Mount's been here the whole summer. So it's a little bit different, isn't it? Irvin says if Varane and Casemiro are sold because of their wages, Rashford has to go as well. Yeah, I mean, that's a conversation I'm happy to have in a minute. No problem at all. What else we got? And lots of people are getting their score prediction in. Most people seem to be feeling quite confident, I think. Most people are either saying a draw or a victory for this game against Everton. But yeah, if you haven't got your score prediction in, do get your predictions in and let me know who you think is going to score the goals as well. Just a quick reminder, obviously Erik ten Hag won't be on the touchline this Sunday. He's got one match ban, a touchline ban, for a yellow card he picked up against Luton in the last Premier League match. In relation to injuries, though, Erik ten Hag has confirmed that both Onana and Luke Shaw will be available for selection for Sunday's game. So I think this is a massive, massive boost for us. I really, really do. I'm excited to hopefully see Luke Shaw start, because I think Luke Shaw and Marcus Rashford work really, really well together. So hopefully they can continue on the partnership they formed last season and obviously over the last 2 or 3 years. And hopefully we just see that Marcus Rashford that we've been missing. Hopefully he goes out, gets some goals, and just starts to build his confidence back up again. Obviously, we have to remember that Marcus Rashford is banned for the game against Galatasaray. Obviously, he got a red card against Copenhagen, didn't he, in the last Champions League game. So there'll be no Marcus Rashford against Galatasaray. Now, some people in the fan base are saying that maybe Erik ten Hag shouldn't start Rashford because, you know, he should start someone else to try and get them a bit more match fit ahead of that game, because against Galatasaray, it's a must-win game. It is. We have to beat Galatasaray, otherwise we're out of the Champions League. Some will say we're already out. We're not. If we beat Galatasaray, I would say that the ball's in our court then. If we lose to Galatasaray, we're out. It's as simple as that. You know, if they win and we lose, we can't get the points we need to go to the next round. So I actually think that the Galatasaray game is more important in some ways than this Premier League game. Some might argue that we're not going to win the Premier League anyway, so why does it matter? But then you could say we're not going to win the Champions League, so why does it matter? I just think that from Manchester United's perspective, obviously the Champions League's important. Qualifying for the next round will bring in more finances, will bring in more money from the TV deals and all the rest of it. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think is more important, actually, in the comments section. Do you think the Everton game is more important, or do you think the Galatasaray game is more important? Like, which one, if you could pick that you could only win one or the other, right? I know this is a bit of a stupid question, but let's just play along with it for just entertain me, all right? So for hypothetical purposes, we can only beat Everton or Galatasaray. Which game would you say is the most important? Let me know in the comment section. I'm probably going the Champions League, to be honest. I know we're not going to win it, but I would much rather get through to the next round than drop down to the Europa or even finish fourth and not have anything. I think that obviously this game against Everton is going to be difficult as it is. I think it will feel like more of an achievement almost if we go and beat Galatasaray, and then ultimately all we have to do is not lose to Bayern Munich and we'd be through. So yeah, I would probably rather win the Galatasaray game. I'm just checking the points table of the group just to confirm our position. So Let's have a quick look at that. Everyone who's just joined, please smash a like on the video. Please subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. The more people that like the video, the more people that will be shown this by YouTube. That's just annoyingly how YouTube works with the algorithms and all of that. So if you like it, it will bring more people in, and then everyone's, happy days for everyone. So we're on 3 points. Galatasaray on 4, Copenhagen are on 4, and Bayern Munich are on 12. So if we beat Galatasaray, we'd be on 6 points. Let's say that Bayern either win or draw against Copenhagen, then Copenhagen would be on 5 points. All we'd have to do effectively then is either draw or win against Bayern in the final game and we'd go through. So we have to win pretty much. It's must win, otherwise we're out. I think if we win, we'll go through, genuinely. I genuinely believe if we beat Galatasaray on Wednesday night, we will qualify for the next round of the group stage, but we'll have to wait and see. Paul says the league games are more important. Irvin says Champions League is more important because I think we can win the Europa League. Fair enough. Lumen says, Kieran, what's the point in being in the Champions League or the Europa League when we are having injuries and player conflicts every day? Fair enough. I understand your pain. Pablo says, Everton, we've got to get back in the Champions League. Remember how tricky to sign players it was without Champions League? Fair enough. Digital says, I really feel for Eric Ten Hag this period. He's got a tough run of fixtures. Mate, the next 10 games are so difficult. Rajat says, Manchester United won't beat Galatasaray away. Fair enough. And Digital Sports Update says, Kieran, who are you going for in the midfield trio at the Goodison Park game against Everton? I'm going for Amrabat, Scott McTominay and Bruno Fernandes. Yeah, I would agree with you there, mate, 100%. I think Amrabat, Bruno Fernandes, Scott McTominay, I think that's solid. Obviously, Casemiro is injured. I don't think Kobe Mainoo's ready to be starting a game of that magnitude personally. Eriksen's injured. Obviously, Donny van der Beek doesn't play. So, yeah, I would agree with you 100%. Joe says, Kieran, have you heard anything about United battling it out with other Brazilian clubs to sign 16-year-old Brazilian Estavo Willian? No, I've heard absolutely nothing about that whatsoever. Somebody says, why are they mutually exclusive? We should win both. Yeah, I mean, obviously, we would like to win both. But the reason I'm asking this is, does Eric Ten Hag rest players ahead of the Galatasaray game? Does he maybe not play Shaw because he wants to play Shaw against Galatasaray? Does he play Marcus Rashford on Sunday because he knows he's not playing on Wednesday? There's these things that Eric Ten Hag's going to have to think about. Joe says we need to try and win the rest of the Champions League games. I agree. Rajat says Kobe Mainoo has to play other youth games as well. Yeah, I agree. And Digital also says, Kieran, we can't beat Galatasaray. I mean, we can beat Galatasaray, mate. I don't think they look particularly good against us at Old Trafford. I think they were quite lucky in that match, to be completely honest with you. We should have beaten them comfortably, just like we should have beaten Copenhagen away from home. But we know what our team's like. As soon as one goal goes in against us, the heads drop, and then it's kind of all over, isn't it? But let's move on with the rest of the show, though. Lots of other bits to get into on the show tonight. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about Casemiro because there's been a story coming out this morning and this afternoon from a couple of different journalists saying that Manchester United are apparently asking for £50 million to sell Casemiro. Now, I want you all to let me know in the comment section in the live chat, how much do you think is a fair price for Casemiro? For me, I think 50 million sounds a lot. If we could get 50 million, I would take it 150%. I'm just double checking how much we paid for him from Real Madrid. We paid 70 million euros. 70 million euros we paid. So yeah, we paid 60 million or 70 million euros. I mean, if we got, it was 60 million plus 10 million in add-ons we played Real Madrid. If we got 50 million back for Casemiro, having only spent 60, I would be happy with that. To think that we'd have Casemiro for 2 seasons, I would still have very fond memories of Casemiro. I wouldn't say it would have been a flop. I would say 10 million for 2 seasons for Casemiro would have been a good bit of business. Yes, we're still losing money technically, but it's better to recoup the money now opposed to in a year or two's time, him going as a free agent and us getting nothing. Lumen says, Kieran, Arteta never rests his players. Why should Eric Ten Hag? The thing is, right, I agree with you 100% there, mate, right? But if Eric Ten Hag didn't rest his players, people would be complaining, saying, he doesn't rotate, he doesn't do this. It's impossible to please people. Lumen says, Kieran, we are so bad at selling players. That 50 million seems a lot to me. I would take it now. I would agree. And Chris says, Kieran, I'm hearing there's all kinds of legal issues with Ratcliffe's bid. We will talk about that in a minute. I think it's a bit of a red herring. It's a bit of a false story, but I will talk about that in a second. Scott says, is Pellistri injured? Yes, Pellistri's injured. So yeah, no Pellistri on Sunday, unfortunately, guys. Pellistri got injured against, I think it was against Argentina in the international fixtures. So no Pellistri, no Eriksen. Who else are we missing? Obviously, Martinez is out, Casemiro's out, Luke Shaw's back, Onana's back, Højlund's apparently back. So, yeah, Mason Mount's out. Obviously, Sancho's not going to be available. So we're missing about 6 or 7 of the kind of first-team players, but Luke Shaw and Onana will be available. So that's a positive for me. I know it's still not amazing. You know, I would love to see Martinez back in that defence. But unfortunately, it's just not how it is at the moment. Okay, let's see what else we've got. I'm just reading something here from Fabrizio about just about the Man City charges. So Pep Guardiola's been asked again about the charges that are against them. Obviously, these 115 charges. And Pep Guardiola says, there's more chance of me staying at Manchester City after being relegated to League One than us winning the Champions League again. I'm not sure what he means there. Don't know. I don't know. Somebody says, is Anthony injured? No, Anthony's available, I believe, yeah. So we will see Anthony. Pablo says, we've got to get our money back from the Saudi League if we sell Casemiro there. And somebody else says, Casemiro for 50 million is okay, but it sounds a lot. 60 million will pay for Casemiro. Royden says, if you listen to Erik ten Hag's interview, all is good between him and Varane. I mean, he said all was good with him and Ronaldo. He said that David De Gea was staying. Like, Erik ten Hag said a lot to the media. We know he doesn't like the media. We know he doesn't like speaking to the media. So I don't really take anything he says for granted. He's not going to come out and say, me and Varane hate each other, I want him gone, is he? And we've seen that multiple times before where he's said, you know, Ronaldo's part of my plans, he gets rid of him. De Gea's part of my plans, he gets rid of him. So he can say one thing in the media, but something, you know, he might then say something else. But yeah, I'm just going to give you what my predicted lineup is for the game against Everton, okay? Obviously, the other thing you have to remember, guys, is Johnny Evans is also injured. So Johnny Evans is out, Pellistri's out, Amad Diallo's out, Mason Mount's out. Who else is out? Martinez is out, Casemiro's out, Eriksen's out. I mean, we've got a lot of players out again. It's 7 or 8 first-team players that will be missing. So my predicted lineup for the game against Everton on Sunday is this. I've gone with Onana in goal, Wan-Bissaka at left-back, Maguire and Lindelof as the 2 centre-backs. It could be Varane instead of one of them, but I don't think it will be. Then I've gone for Luke Shaw. If Luke Shaw's fit enough to be on the bench, I'm starting him 100%. And then I've gone for a midfield of McTominay, Amrabat and Bruno. And then the front three, I'm going Rashford, Garnacho, Rasmus Højlund. So that's what I would do. Let me know what you think in the comment section, guys. Obviously, there's still quite a few people missing, quite a few people who won't be able to take part in this game. Somebody says, why should Casemiro be sold? Let him stay and young players learn from him. I'm seeing Erik ten Hag failing at Manchester United if he continues handling players this way. Mate, you've got a good point. You do. I said this on the show this morning. You know, he fell out with Ronaldo. Something happened with De Gea. Supposedly, well, obviously something's happened with Sancho. Something seems to have happened with Varane. Something's happened with Casemiro. There is a bit of a pattern going on here. And I think my understanding of this, right, is that Erik ten Hag is a good man manager, but only when they're kind of young, hungry players at the beginning of their career. I think if it's those types of players, he gets the best out of them. I genuinely believe that. People who have something to prove, I think he can help make them prove whatever that thing is. People who are above him, I mean, let's be honest, right? Casemiro's won more trophies than Erik ten Hag will ever win in his career. That's a fact. I would put money on it. There is no way on earth Erik ten Hag will win 5 Champions Leagues. Casemiro's done that. Ronaldo, one of the biggest serial winners of all time. There is no way on earth that Erik ten Hag will win more Champions Leagues than Ronaldo. 5 Champions Leagues. The same with Varane. 5 Champions Leagues. There's a bit of a pattern here forming, I think, where it's the players he's falling out with are the players who have egos. The players who, some might say their egos are deserved, you know? They've won everything. Varane's won a World Cup. He's won 5 Champions Leagues. Let's be honest, right? What has Erik ten Hag won? Now, just to be clear, before people start getting at me, I like Erik ten Hag. I think he's the right man for the job. But in his career, he's not really won much. I'm having a look now, right? He's won the Eredivisie 3 times. He's won the League Cup. And he's won the Dutch Cup twice. I mean, most people would say that the Dutch league isn't a competitive league, would you? A lot of you would say that. Okay, that's fine. You can't not say the Champions League isn't competitive. 5 Champions Leagues is crazy for a player. And I just think that he seems to fall out with these players who will have an ego, probably rightly so. I mean, if I'm sat there and I'm Varane, I've won the World Cup, I've won 5 Champions Leagues, I've won, countless Spanish leagues, and somebody's telling me that I'm not good enough, whose best trophy is probably the League Cup, I'm going to be like, what is this guy talking about? Why is he telling me what to do? I mean, I know that's not the attitude they should have. Yes, they're paid loads of money, but if you're sat there and you're Varane and you've seen Ronaldo been thrown out, you've seen David De Gea been thrown out, you've seen, all these fallouts going on with all of these different types of players, and you're sat there thinking, what is going on here? Whereas if it's like, say, Jose Mourinho coming in or something, right? Jose Mourinho has the kind of ego, I think, to be able to put these players in. I'm not, just to be very, very clear here, right? I'm not by any means saying I want Jose Mourinho to be the manager. I'm just giving you a bit of an example. Jose Mourinho, I'm looking at his trophy list here. He's probably won about 30, 40 trophies in his career. Champions Leagues, 3 Premier Leagues, He can compete with the likes of Varane by way of their trophy cabinets. The same with someone like Pep Guardiola. Like, nobody is better than Pep Guardiola by way of trophies at Man City. I mean, 5 Premier Leagues, 3 Champions Leagues. And I just don't think that Erik ten Hag is on that level where he can almost conduct himself in front of those types of players. And that's why these situations are happening. I think, yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? And I think that maybe Erik ten Hag does want to bring in these kind of more hungry players, like the Kobe Mainus, like the Hannibals, etc., the Palistris, the Garnachos, the people who have something to prove. I think he manages them really, really well. I think he does a great job, and I think he'll turn them into good players, like he did at Ajax, bringing through Frankie de Jong, bringing through all of these unbelievable players, De Ligt, and making them who they are today. He's great at doing that. But when he has to have to deal with these big egos, I don't think he can do it personally. And I think that might be why this is happening over and over again. And I think that's just it. I think that's it. That's my opinion on the situation. Let's see what people are saying. Lumen says, Kieran, we said Varane and Casemiro have come to United for retirement, but they are not happy for not playing. So it says they are still competitive and have desires to play and perform. Yeah, mate, as I just said right then, right? I think you're 100% correct there. I think they've come here to play, but they've also come up to pick up a paycheck. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was great at managing egos because he was just a smiley face. And let's be honest, right? Let's be very, very clear here. Let's not disrespect Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. As a manager, let's be honest, he was poor. But by way of trophy cabinets, I'm just having a look now. 6 Premier League titles, a Champions League, an 2 FA Cups, 4 Super Cups. Like, think of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, what you want. But by way of his trophy cabinet, 6 Premier Leagues. That's crazy. That's double the amount. Obviously, this is a player, not as a manager, but you get the point I'm getting at here. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did have a bit more respect just because people would look at him and say, I mean, any Manchester United player who's come through the youth academy would say that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer probably created the greatest night of their life when he scored that goal against Bayern Munich to win us the Champions League. Nobody could disrespect him. And I think this is the different level here. Erik ten Hag's come into uncharted waters. And he's battling against everything. He's battling against the media. He's battling against the players' egos. He's battling against the Glazers. He's battling against the mess of all of the different voices at Manchester United, the failed CEOs, the failed directors of football. And it's a very, very difficult job for him. And I do just wonder whether this will keep happening over and over again, or maybe we need to change our model completely and get rid of Casemiro, Varane, get rid of all of these players and just bring in young people who are hungry. Maybe that's the only players that Erik ten Hag can manage. It's very difficult to say, isn't it? But I do think it looks like that. But I'm going to wrap the video up there, guys. I went off on a bit of a tangent there about Erik ten Hag, but it kind of just came to me as I was sat here. And I think I've kind of just realised what's going on here. There's a pattern that we can't deny. Ronaldo, De Gea, Varane, Casemiro, like all of these people are serial winners with lots and lots of trophies in their cabinet. Let's be honest, right? Erik ten Hag is a great manager. I like him. But he's not at the point yet where you could call him a serial winner. Winning the Dutch league 3 times does not put you in the same bracket as Ronaldo, Varane, Casemiro, any of De Gea even. I mean, even De Gea's won, Europa League twice, Premier League, FA Cup, Super Cup 3 times. UEFA Super Cup. He's won a decent amount of trophies. Maybe I'm completely wrong here, but thank you so much everybody for joining me on the show this morning. It's the evening. I'm going to go off and try and relax a bit now, but big ups to all of you. Thank you so much for joining me. Please do make sure to smash a like on the video before you go. Please do subscribe to the channel if you're new. This has been Daily Red Devil, and I'll speak to you all a bit later.